Assalamualaikum. Good evening, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Together with the Presidential Communications Office, we bring you the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news coverage from the People's Television, IBC, Philippine News Agency, Philippine Information Agency, and Presidential Broadcast Service. I'm Princess Habiba Saripaudak. Welcome to Balitang Pambansa. Tonight's headlines. The palace reacted to the issues concerning the petition for writ of habeas corpus filed by the Duterte camp and the decision of the Solicitor General regarding the said case. The Department of Justice, or DOJ, will now serve as the government's representative in matters concerning the International Criminal Court, or ICC, following the decision of the Solicitor General to recuse. The Marcos administration is continuously working to improve the country's free internet connection program, especially for geographically challenged areas. Upper chamber lawmakers are set to meet to decide the timeline of the impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte. When asked about the possibility of being removed from his position and the decision to recuse itself, the palace said that no discussions have been made yet to Solicitor General Menardo Guevara, as the matter is still new. This is in connection with the habeas corpus cases filed by the children of former President Rodrigo Duterte. PTV's Kenneth Pasyente has the details.
Wala pa pong napag-uusapan dyan dahil napakabago po talaga nito. Lumabas lang po yata ito kagabi. Pero siguro po mas maganda po kung mismo si Solgen ang mag-assess sa sarili niya kung siya pa po ba ay nararapat na tumayo bilang Solicitor General.
That was the response of Malacanang when asked if there was a possibility Solicitor General Menardo Guevara might be removed from his position. This came after the decision of the Office of the Solicitor General to recuse from representing some government officials in connection with the petition for writ of habeas corpus filed by the children of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Guevara responded that it would be up to the president to decide if he remained in his position. He also defended there was no issue of conflict of interest since the OSG only upholds the interest of the nation. He said that the OSG's decision was not personal but institutional. Yusek Castro also pointed out that the OSG's manifestation only highlighted that the ICC no longer has jurisdiction over the country, hence the recusal. This is contrary to the claims of the former president's camp, which allegedly believes that the OSG found fault in the government's cooperation with Interpol to return Duterte over to the ICC. Meanwhile, Malacanang sees no problem with the move of former presidential spokesperson Attorney Harry Roque to request asylum in The Hague while the investigation against Duterte is ongoing. Yusek Castro emphasized that while Roque has taken this step, it will have no impact on the cases filed against him in the country, especially since his request for asylum or international protection has not yet been granted. Roque still needs to prove there is indeed political persecution in the cases filed against him, which according to Malacanang, there is no truth to these claims because the PAOK presented strong evidence against him during the Quadcom hearing in the House of Representatives.
Nakita lang po itong mga dokumentong to, bank documents ni Attorney Harry Roque sa Lucky South 99. Nakita rin ang mga dokumento ng kanyang assistant, AR de la Serna, in Lucky South 99. Third, there is also a document referring to contract of lease with a certain manager, alleged manager of Lucky South 99. Bumaksak lang din po yan sa harapan ng PAOK. So how could there be a political persecution if all the pieces of evidence are overwhelming? So, wala po tayo nakikitang political persecution. Harapin na lang po niya ang kaso niya po dito. Mas maganda po yan para maipakita niya sa taong bayan na wala po talaga siyang kasalanan.
Meanwhile, Malacanang also dismissed the claim of former Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo of the Rome Statute not taking effect in the country. Yusek Claire argued that if it did not take effect, why did the previous administration decide to withdraw from the ICC? She said there is no need to refute such claims from the former president's camp.
There's nothing to refute because it was effective until withdrawn. So there's nothing to refute about the said publication. There's not ratification. Kung naniniwala kayo walang effect or hindi effective or hindi nag-take effect ang Rome Statute sa atin, dahil walang publication. Ba't kaya nga kayo nag-withdraw? Di ba dapat hindi na kayo nag-withdraw? Wala na kayong ginawa. Kasi wala pa lang, hindi pala tayo naging member, hindi pala tayo naging sumang-ayon sa nasabing Rome Statute. So dapat walang withdrawal.
On the other hand, if the ICC issues an order to freeze Duterte's assets, the government will leave this matter to the Anti-Money Laundering Council. From PTV Manila, Kenneth Pasyente, Balitang Pambansa.
Following the recusal of the Office of the Solicitor General from the petitions filed with the children of former President Rodrigo Duterte before the Supreme Court, the Department of Justice will now represent the respondent government officials in the consolidated habeas corpus petitions. Meanwhile, when asked if it is still possible to bring former President Rodrigo Duterte back to the Philippines, the DOJ stated that it is a done deal. PTV's Rod Lagusad has the report.
The Department of Justice will represent the government. This after the Office of the Solicitor General refused to respond to the petitions for a writ of habeas corpus filed by the children of former President Rodrigo Duterte. The DOJ has also asserted that the International Criminal Court has no longer jurisdiction over the Philippines.
We were given the authorization by the Executive Secretary to kami nasumagot. At okay na, nabigyan na namin yung comment namin kahapon. Yung dokumentong binigay namin, sapat na yun para sagutin yung mga sinabi nila sa korte.
Meanwhile, Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla said that it is a done deal on whether Duterte could still be brought back to the Philippines from his current custody at the ICC. According to Remulla, Duterte is already in The Hague, Netherlands.
Wala na yun, tapos na yun.
So hindi...
It's a done deal already. It's a done deal. It's there. Ando na siya.
Remulla recalled the former president stating that he would face the charges against him. The secretary did not comment on the upcoming decision of the Supreme Court regarding the petitions filed by Duterte's children. The SC has ordered Duterte's children, Veronica Duterte, Davao City Mayor Sebastian Duterte, and Representative Paulo Duterte, to submit their comments within 5 days concerning the DOJ's response to their petitions. This matter was discussed during an en banc special session of the SC. According to Supreme Court spokesperson Attorney Camille Ting, this is to allow further discussion on the petition.
So there's a show cause order explaining them why the court should not issue the writ of habeas corpus. So syempre my explanation, they would also like to see the side of the other side. In response to the allegation specifically said in the compliance.
Ting added that there are many possibilities on the outcome of the petition. From PTV Manila, Rod Lagusad, Balitang Pambansa.
A ranking House leader ripped the sinister personalities behind the creation and spread of a piece of fake news indicating the Supreme Court's receipt of a petition drive that reportedly drew 16 million signatures calling for the president to step down. In a statement, the High Tribunal slammed the circulating piece of smear campaign from the Duterte camp. As such, the Supreme Court vows to formulate measures and mechanisms to thwart such malicious endeavors and to hold everyone responsible into account. House Assistant Majority Leader Zia Alonto Adyong lauded the swift response by the Supreme Court, citing such repulsive tactics seek to sow discord and further divide the country. Meanwhile, access to cyberspace and its unlimited destinations and opportunities for learning and growth has just been boosted by government's latest efforts to build in connectivity throughout the country. Best of all, this inestimable entitlement that reaches to the most remote places of the archipelago is free of charge, as our Clazel Partilia reports.
The administration of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is set to broaden delivery of free internet access. The government is prioritizing expanding free internet coverage in geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas or the most remote locations in the country. On the president's meeting with the Regional Development Council, the government has established a new system to improve internet connectivity. This includes the construction of common towers where a single tower power is shared by 2 or more internet service providers through leasing agreements. The government is also adopting a new internet satellite system. With the help of a satellite dish, users can access the internet without the need for extensive infrastructure. According to Malacanang, this initiative is crucial in enhancing public capacity, particularly in education and livelihood.
Using internet is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. So with this, if we can improve the access of all the Filipino peoples to internet so that they can at least research, make a good use of this internet, it will definitely improve the livelihood, not only the livelihood, even the intellectual capacity of every Filipino.
From 4,469 locations in June 2022, the number of areas with free Wi-Fi has increased to 15,000 as of January 2025. This expansion is also expected to accelerate government services, especially as business permits and other documents can now be processed online. The government is also addressing other essential needs of Filipinos.
Tinalakay rin ang iba pang issue sa rehiyon tulad ng supply ng tubig at kuryente, infrastruktura at serbisyong pangkalusugan. Tiniyak ng Pangulo ang patuloy na pagsikap ng kanyang administrasyon para mapabuti ang pamumuhay sa Eastern Visayas.
The Department of Energy earlier announced that 25 power projects are set to be developed in the Visayas, which will generate 1,900 megawatts of electricity, enough to power over 6 million households. From PTV Manila, Calazal Pordilla, Balitang Pambansa.
Senate President Francis Escudero sees no problem with Senator Amy Marcos's plan to investigate the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte by virtue of a warrant issued by the International Criminal Court or ICC. However, the Senate President Escudero wants to make sure first, that the probe can actually help unite the Filipino people and not further sow divisiveness. Senator Marcos eyes to invite officials of the government for the investigation and plans to begin the investigation on March 20. For their part, Malacanang says they respect the lawmakers' plan regarding the said matter.
If necessary, if it is for if the inquiry is in aid of legislation, we will respect the request of Senator Amy, because we just complied with all the requirements with the law regarding the arrest of former President Duterte.
On the other news, Senate President Francis Escudero clarified that the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte will not be affected by the trial for former President Rodrigo Duterte in the International Criminal Court. As of now, the Senate is set to decide for the proposed timeline of the impeachment trial that Senate President Escudero issued. Based on the proposed timeline, the impeachment trial may start on July 30. Also, Senate President Escudero said that the appearance of Vice President Duterte at the Netherlands has no problem with him.
Sa pagkakaalam ko po, ang pinagbabawal na mag-appear in any court or tribunal in the Philippines is a member of Congress. Walang ganon sa ICC. So, pwede siya mag-appear. Kung ang tanong mo, sumasweldo siya, hindi siya nagtatrabaho. Siya'y elected official. Siya'y impeachable officer. Hindi yan kasama sa isa sa mga impeachable offenses na di umano ginawa niya.
It is not ethical, let alone official, to indicate one's resignation or act of quitting from service or work in cyberspace or in social media. The response, AFP spokesperson Colonel Francel Padilla on the AFP's reaction to alleged mass resignations tendered online by military conscripts or personnel loyal or sympathizing with the plight of the former commander-in-chief in The Hague. Further, she adds she has yet to see confirmation responses by the AFP on soldiers quitting the ranks. With official word on alleged mass soldier resignations yet to be confirmed, the AFP reminds all soldiers workers and officers not to engage with anyone politically, but instead focus on the job or work at hand they swore to carry out and uphold. For its part, the AFP is not discounting this piece of news is being spread by foreign malign influencers seeking to sow discord and disunity among Filipinos.
Hindi ka naman pwede mag-post na nagre-resign ka, and even in corporate organizations, I don't think that is the proper forum to do it. We have the necessary policies that are in place, social media policies within the Armed Forces of the Philippines, and any personnel that are found to be a violation of this will be sanctioned accordingly.
All official or in-kind assistance from the Ayuda para sa Kapos ang Kita Poverty Alleviation Program is exempt from the whole body spending ban from here on till Labor Day. Even but better, 11 other DSWD programs have also been spared from the COMELEC spending moratorium. As per Memorandum Order 1080 issued by the whole body, the DSWD has been granted the green light to shell out some 12.6 billion pesos in aid to distribute it to places between now and Labor Day or the 1st of May. Only burial and medical assistance are exempt thereafter from May 2 up to decision day on the 12th of May. Candidates in the midterm polls are also restricted from showing up and spreading the wealth or distributing aid. For his part, Chief COMELEC Commerce George Garcia advises to have the presence of LGU officials as witnesses during the distribution of the said assistance. Meanwhile, First Lady Liza Araneta Marquez, together with other government officials, graced the turnover ceremony of a vessel and other new equipment to the Philippine Coast Guard earlier today. The MV Amazing Grace, a donation from the Philippine Red Cross, will help deliver medical supplies, humanitarian assistance, emergency and disaster response to remote areas and isolated communities. The PCG also received 100 units of Starlink kits from SpaceX, which will enhance connectivity and communication coverage, particularly in remote areas. In addition, Grab Philippines also donated 2 Barracuda rigid-hulled inflatable boats to support search and rescue operations, both at sea and on land. Meanwhile, the Department of Agriculture, or DA, expressed optimism about the possible consideration of the Japanese government to review its imposed tariffs on the country's banana exports. Meanwhile, water concessionaire Maynilad announced its plan to list in the Philippine Stock Exchange by July next year. These and more in tonight's Business Wrap from the Philippine News Agency.
Moving to our business news, the Department of Agriculture is hoping for the Japanese government to consider reviewing the tariffs on Philippine banana exports. Agriculture Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel Jr. met with Japan's State Minister of Agriculture and with other Japanese officials on Monday to discuss lowering tariffs and secure a fairer trade environment. DA spokesperson Arnel de Mesa said that Laurel is optimistic that Japan will take action and stressed that reducing tariffs would benefit both banana farmers and the economy. In 2023, the Philippines exported over 985,000 metric tons of bananas to Japan, or more than 41% out of the 2.35 million metric tons of bananas exported worldwide. Meanwhile, water concessionaire Maynilad plans to raise 49 billion pesos from its initial public offering as it announced plans to list on the Philippine Stock Exchange by July this year. Maynilad targets to offer over 2.4 million common shares at a maximum price of 20 pesos per share from June 25 to July 2. This amounts to 30.4% of Maynilad's outstanding capital stock post-IPO, subject to the approval of PSE and Securities Exchange Commission. Parts of the proceeds will be used for corporate purposes. In other news, global gross domestic product growth is expected to slack from 3.2% in 2024 to 3.1% in 2025 and 3% in 2026. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development said that this drop is due to higher trade barriers in several G20 economies, as well as uncertainties in geopolitical and policy matters weighing on household spending and investment. In its December 2024 economic outlook, the OECD estimated that global GDP growth will be at 3.3% in both 2025 and 2026. That's the latest business news from the Philippine News Agency. This is Wilnard Bacelonia for Balitang Pambansa.
The Department of Information and Communications Technology, Mimaropa, has installed new free Wi-Fi sites across various public areas to improve internet accessibility in remote and underserved communities in Romblon. Paul J. Foss from the Philippine Information Agency, Mimaropa, tells us more.
The government continues its efforts to improve internet accessibility in remote and underserved communities. In Romblon, the Department of Information and Communications Technology, or the DICT Mimaropa, has successfully installed 10 new free Wi-Fi sites across various public areas. In a Facebook post, the ICT Romblon confirmed that these free Wi-Fi hotspots are now operational in selected locations, including schools, barangay halls, and hospitals. The goal is to provide reliable internet access to students, teachers, healthcare workers, and the general public to support education, work, and communication. The ICT said that the program is part of the government's initiative to bridge the digital divide in the country. The ICT encourages the public to use the free internet responsibly and assures that more Wi-Fi sites will be established across the province as part of their ongoing digitalization efforts. The ICT Mimaropa said that this marks a significant step toward a more digitally connected Philippines, where every citizen has access to fast and reliable internet connection. From the Philippine Information Agency Mimaropa, Paul Jason Foss, Balitang Pambansa.
This March, as the nation celebrates Fire Prevention and Women's Month, women firefighters in Biliran Province are leading the charge to make their community fire safe, breaking barriers in a traditionally male-dominated field. Ulat Reyes from Philippine Information Agency Eastern Visayas tells us more.
Lady firefighters of the Bureau of Fire Protection in Biliran Province are leading the agency's campaign to achieve a fire-safe province as the nation observes the dual celebration of Fire Prevention Month and National Women's Month this March. Fire Officer 3 Cyril Rosales, Chief of the Community Relations Unit of BFP Biliran, said firefighting is breaking gender barriers, with the BFP welcoming female firefighters, proving that fire service is not just for men. Rosales said lady firefighters in the Provincial Fire Bureau are leading this month's fire prevention campaign with regular conduct of inspections of structures within their area of responsibility, information dissemination activities to prevent fires and save lives and properties in the communities. The lady firefighters of BFP Biliran also urged residents to contact their office immediately for instant response during emergencies instead of focusing on capturing videos first.
Although kami sa BFP, we are intensifying po nga mag-disseminate hanamon mga hotline numbers. Maybe kulang pa, diri pa sapat, pero we are doubling our efforts na sana kung may ada sunog, please po, tawag dayon han pinakaharani nga fire station ha iulog.
With more inclusivity in recruitment, training, and leadership, which is a prime call in the celebration of Women's Month, the number of women firefighters in the Philippines is expected to grow. The BFP continues to promote gender equality, making firefighting a more accessible career for Filipinas. From the Philippine Information Agency, Eastern Visayas, Ulat Reyes, Balitang Pambansa.
A portable tuberculosis machine was recently turned over to the city government of Baguio that will help in TB screening and diagnosis. Various services were also brought to the community in line with the observance of World Tuberculosis Day. Clintus Van Totanes from Philippine Information Agency tells us more.
Better health services awaits the public with the turnover of a portable tuberculosis machine to the city government of Baguio. This AI-enabled machine will significantly help in TB screening and diagnosis, decreasing the waiting time for patients and people who will undergo the test. The turnover is one of the highlights of the World TB Day observation in the region, coinciding with the government's thrust in finding active cases of TB.
Layunin nito ang makahanap tayo ng mga pasyente na may posibleng may TB at ma-enroll sana natin sila sa treatment. Ang TB kasi dito sa Pilipinas madami pa rin, no? Kasi ang TB ngayon nagagamot na, kailangan tutok gamutan. Kaya kailangan po na monitor tayo ng mga ating mga health workers, no, sa continuous na paggagamot natin.
Free health services were offered during the recent observance. Beneficiaries expressed their gratitude to the DOH.
Maganda naman po kasi malalaman mo if may sakit ka, ganun, TB or HIV.
Mayat mo, iti kasapulan ti senior citizen, pagbayad ti private doctor.
With the aim of ending TB in the country, the DOH also reminds the public to avail of the annual physical checkup and medical consultation. From PIA Cordillera, Clintus Van Totanes, Balitang Pambansa.
And it is the 16th night of Ramadan, and that concludes our rundown of the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news and information from all across the nation. This is your trusted news source, always ready to inform and serve the Filipino people. Catch Balitang Pambansa again tomorrow at 7 a.m., 12 noon, 6 p.m., 9:30 p.m. for more updates and developments. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Princess Habiba Sari Paudak, and this is your Balitang Pambansa.